Before the world knew Switzerland as the land of precise watches, pristine streets, and postcard-perfect mountains, this place was something else entirely. It was a story of upheaval, a place born from a violent collision deep within the earth. Hundreds of millions of years ago, a shallow sea stretched across the very ground where Swiss valleys now lie. Then, the continents shifted. The African plate slammed into Europe. And, under unimaginable pressure, rock folded against rock. The ocean floor was thrust into the sky, beginning the slow, violent ascent of the Alps. These mountains weren't built, they were torn from the earth itself, sculpted by fire and fracture. Next came the ice. For 2 million years, colossal glaciers advanced and retreated, carving the mountains into sharper, more dramatic forms. They chiseled valleys so deep that echoes vanish into silence, dug the basins for today's serene lakes, and polished the cliffs that now catch the morning sun. Every meadow rests on a memory of ice. Every valley bears the scar of its retreat. Beneath Switzerland's quiet stillness lies a record of this ancient violent stone and silence shaped by time itself. Perhaps it's fitting that a land of such extremes carries one of the world's simplest yet most singular flags, a white cross on a red square. Unlike almost every other nation, the Swiss flag isn't rectangular. This cross doesn't divide, it unites. Like the glaciers that once carved stone borders, the cross marks a center, a place of gathering and stillness amidst Europe's turmoil. The mountains of Switzerland are both a barrier and a bridge. They wall off valleys, preserving languages and traditions in isolation. Yet they also serve as bridges, drawing together German, French, Italian, and Romansh voices into an improbable harmony. This is the paradox of Switzerland, a land that is at once a steadfast fortress and a tranquil sanctuary, both fragile and eternal. So when you look at Switzerland, you might only see the polished surface, the chalets, the trains, the neat perfection. But beneath that postcard view lies something older, stranger, and far more vast, a country born from fire and ice. A cross carved not in wood or stone, but in the very memory of the land itself. How do you listen to a land shaped by fire and ice? The answer is found in the silence of shifting glaciers, in the weight of mountains pressing against the sky, and in the patience of valleys that have waited for millennia. Are you ready to hear its story? Let's begin our journey among the giants. The journey begins the moment the train eases out of the valley station. Forested slopes slide past. Rivers gleam between boulders. And the horizon slowly reveals a single, commanding figure, the Matterhorn. Rising to 478 meters. It dominates the skyline with four near-vertical faces converging in a perfectly defined peak. At dawn, the mountain provides its own light show, washing the gray rock in gradations of amber, crimson, and gold. No artificial filter could reproduce the contrast of the sharp summit against an indigo sky. This is high alpine climate in pure form, crisp, dry air. Summers rarely warmer than 10 to 15 degrees at mid-elevation, and winters that plunge well below freezing, bringing deep, powdery snow. Summer here invites long alpine hikes, glacier walks, and technical ascents. Winter recasts the entire massif as a pristine arena for skiing and ice climbing, where even the sound of a ski edge cutting snow carries like a studio-perfect sound effect. From Zermatt, the view gradually widens northward to the Bernese Alps, where the three peaks of Jungfrau, 4,158 meters, Monk, 4,107 meters, and Eiger, 3,967 meters, shape a magnificent skyline. The dark, ice-clad north face of the Eiger stands like a sheer wall of stone, challenging generations of climbers. Nearby, Jungfrau gleams with its eternal crown of snow, while Monch rises firmly as a natural barrier dividing the glacial valleys. The climate here shifts with altitude and season. In winter, temperatures often fall below 0 degrees C, preserving deep snow, ideal for skiing, snowboarding, and ice climbing. Summer brings a gentler air, with high-altitude temperatures around 5 to 15 degrees Celsius, and long days perfect for breathtaking routes, such as the Eiger Trail or the High Ridge Walk from Kleine Scheidegg. The early 20th century Jungfraubahn Railway is itself a feat of engineering drama. Tunnels bore directly through rock and ice, and every window is a traveling frame. emerging at the 3,454-meter Jungfraujoch station known as the Top of Europe. The view suddenly expands like an ultra-wide establishing shot. Below lies the 20-kilometer Alpes Glacier, the largest in the Alps. Its bright surface glinting under the sun like an endless strip of silver film. In summer, visitors can follow marked ice trails or enter sculpted ice caverns, where blue light filters through compacted centuries of snow, creating the feel of a futuristic set. In winter, the glacier transforms into a monochrome masterpiece. A living black and white photograph in constant slow motion. Descending into the valley, the color temperature softens and warms. Grindelwald rests in a broad green basin at roughly 1,000 meters above sea level, framed by towering walls of the Bernese Alps. In summer, daytime highs of 15 to 20 degrees C create perfect conditions for wildflowers to bloom in brilliant yellows, purples, and whites. Spreading across rolling meadows like a natural carpet. The wooden chalets, their deep brown roofs weathered by alpine sun and snow, appear as if set by a careful cinematographer to add depth and texture to the scene. Amid this tranquil alpine setting, the summer season invites a different kind of adventure. Summer adventures. From June through September, Grindelwald serves as a launchpad for classic hikes. The trail to Fürstbackalpsee rewards travelers with a mirrored alpine lake, reflecting peaks like Schreckhorn and Wetterhorn. The Fallhorn Ridge hike offers wide panoramic shots of the Bernese Oberland. On clear days, the distant shimmer of Lakes Thun and Brienz. Mountain bikers weave through forested trails. Paragliders drift silently on thermals above the valley. And photographers capture golden hour light that lingers late into the evening. As the seasons turn and the first heavy snows arrive, the valley shifts into an entirely different spectacle. Winter magic. From December to March, the valley transforms into an extensive winter sports arena. The Jungfrau ski region, connecting Grindelwald with Wengen and Mürren, provides hundreds of kilometers of runs for every skill level. From gentle family slopes to long black diamond descents. Night skiing beneath floodlights casts a silver glow across the snow, while toboggan routes such as the Fallhorn Busalp sled, run one of the longest in Europe, offer a different kind of thrill. Ice climbing on nearby frozen waterfalls adds a vertical challenge for adventurers seeking something beyond the groomed trails. Beyond its outdoor appeal, Grindelwald retains a welcoming alpine character. Traditional restaurants serve cheese fondue and raclette, hearty meals that warm cold evenings. Small artisan shops sell locally made wood carvings and hand-knit wool goods, ideal for slow camera pans through narrow village streets. In autumn, the air carries a scent of wood smoke and freshly cut hay. While church bells mark time in the crisp mountain stillness. A short ride brings a complete change of scene, Lauterbrunnen Valley. A deep glacial cleft lined with sheer cliffs and no fewer than 72 waterfalls. In late spring and early summer, when snowmelt swells the streams, each cascade becomes a vertical river. Some fall in delicate ribbons that dissolve into mist mid-air, creating natural lens flares as sunlight refracts into fleeting rainbows. Among them, Trimmelbach Falls rushes through a hidden network of tunnels inside the mountain itself. The roar of water reverberates through the rock chambers like surround sound in a subterranean concert hall, an acoustic experience as striking as the visuals. Interlaken, nestled between Lake Thun and Lake Brienz, is a landscape of striking contrasts, where each lake offers its own character. Lake Thun reflects medieval castles and hillside vineyards, providing an idyllic backdrop for leisurely cruises or sunsets that paint the sky in golden hues. Lake Brienz dazzles with turquoise waters, the mineral-rich brilliance giving the illusion of a naturally enhanced palette. Just beyond the town lies St. Beatus Cave, a hidden wonder of stalactites and stalagmites formed over millennia. According to legend, it once housed a dragon. But today, it invites visitors to explore its shadowed corridors, underground pools, and the echoing roar of dripping water. A realm both mysterious and intimately connected to nature. Along the shores, wildlife maintains its rhythm, largely undisturbed by human activity. White-throated dippers plunge into shallow streams, hunting insect larvae beneath the water's surface. Their splashing wings adding percussive notes to the gentle lapping of the lake. Waterfowl, including ducks and swans, glide gracefully through small coves and floating vegetation, foraging and communicating in a chorus of calls. Beneath the surface, fish from local trout to introduced species navigate rocky outcrops and crystal-clear waters. Their scales catching and refracting sunlight. The surrounding vegetation, from grassy banks to dense shrubs, offers shelter to smaller creatures. Agile squirrels leap among trees, preparing for the breeding season, while hares skulk cautiously to avoid predators, such as red foxes, moving deftly through thickets and rocky patches. At dawn and dusk, the light spills across the lakes, casting long shadows of wildlife upon the water, harmonizing with the sound of flowing streams and birdsong to create an immersive sensory tableau. Even human presence blends seamlessly into this living landscape. Kayakers glide quietly through secluded coves. Hikers trace paths along the shorelines. And observers can watch wildlife hunting, feeding, and caring for their young without disrupting the natural cycle. With its twin lakes, majestic mountains, and the mysterious stone Beatus Cave, Interlaken stands as a vivid testament to the delicate balance between humans and nature. A place where the pulse of the wild coexists with leisure, and every moment offers both serenity and discovery. The Bernese Alps present more than dramatic scenery. They illustrate the full range of Swiss alpine climate within a compact region. From the year-round snowfields of Jungfrau to the mild valley floors around Interlaken, temperatures and textures shift with every kilometer. Each setting is both natural spectacle and outdoor studio summer trekking across ridgelines, winter skiing through powder, ice cave exploration, or tranquil boating on turquoise water. If mountains are the bones of Switzerland, then water is its breath. It does not simply quench or nourish, it shapes, remembers, and reveals what stone cannot say. Every stream, every lake, every fall carries a secret, whispers of glaciers, echoes of storms, and reflections of skies that change yet remain. Step into Lauterbrunnen, and you will hear the language of water in 72 voices. They fall from cliffs so sheer they appear to descend from the heavens. Some drift like veils of silver, dissolving into mist before they touch the valley floor. Others, like the Trimmelbach Falls, hide within the mountain's body, thundering through unseen corridors carved by glaciers over millennia. Witnessing them is to feel the mountain bleed, not with violence, but with memory. Water here is not passive. It is the pulse of the valley, the unseen architect of its depth and grace. Beyond the cliffs, lakes open like mirrors of impossible clarity. Lake Bryans, with its turquoise waters, holds the light of glaciers within it. Each ripple carries a tint of blue that seems too bright for nature, as if painted from within by ice itself. Stand on its shore, and its silence presses outward, pure and unsettling. By contrast, Lake Thun is gentler, older. Its surface reflecting castles, vineyards, and the softened memory of centuries. Together, they converse like twin souls, one dazzling, one comforting. Further into the Bernese Alps, Lake Uishenen rests in a hidden basin, cupped by peaks over 3,000 meters. Its waters glow with a turquoise so vivid, the sky pales beside it. Summer wildflowers fringe its edges, trembling in pine-scented breezes. Winter freezes it into a mirror of stillness. A pause where nature herself seems to remember. To stand before Uishenen is to glimpse intimacy rather than grandeur. The delicate face of the Alps revealed only to those willing to climb. Not all waters are gentle. Engstligen Falls, near Adelboden, descends in 2 colossal tiers, the second highest in Switzerland. From afar, it is a ribbon of light. Up close, it is thunder, spray, and trembling air. Moss thrives in its mist, green and soft as velvet. Proof that life arises even from violence. Reichenbach Falls, near Meiringen, tells a different story, haunted, literary, where Sherlock Holmes met Moriarty. Visitors feel the intersection of fiction and stone, where natural spectacle becomes myth. Yet water is not always loud. In hidden valleys, small streams wander peacefully through meadows. Nourishing farms and threading through wooden troughs polished by generations. These quiet waters hold the soul of rural Switzerland, a poetry revealed only to those who slow down and listen. Beyond high valleys and rushing streams, Switzerland's charm extends to its villages and historic towns. Sonogno, at the far end of the Verzaska Valley, feels like a whisper from another century. Stone houses, slate roofs, and narrow lanes wind between streams, carrying the valley's voice. Soglio, in Valbrigaglia, glows under the last light of day, a gateway to paradise, where mountains loom. Yet life continues gently. Blatten in Valais hides modestly among forests, preserving centuries-old traditions. Chandelin, one of Europe's highest settlements, clings to cliffs where altitude sharpens the air and deepens the silence. Ferraglio, in Ticino, sits beside a waterfall whose roar mingles with the rhythm of village life. A living testament to coexistence. Gruyères rise above lush pastures, the birthplace of world-famous cheese. Medieval streets lead to the castle perched above, where cows graze to create rich, nutty Gruyere cheese. Tradition is tasted in every bite, and the past is alive in daily village rhythms. Neuchâtel gleams under golden sunlight, its Renaissance facades reflecting in the lake below. The city hums with history, science, and art, blending human elegance with nature. Castles overlook glimmering waters, while distant Jura mountains frame the city, merging geography with culture. Stein am Rhein, perched on the Rhine, preserves medieval life with painted, half-timbered houses, cobbled streets, and bridges spanning the river. The past is woven into everyday rhythm alive in markets, streets, and riverbanks, where centuries of history coexist seamlessly with modern life. If water is the Alps' song, then villages are its pauses. Moments of stillness where human life gathers like a candle against immensity. They do not shout their existence, they whisper, each with a soul unlike the next. To wander through them is not to enter towns, but to step into living sanctuaries where time bends and the ordinary becomes sacred. Take Sonogno. At the far end of the Verzasca Valley in Ticino, it feels less like a village and more like an echo from another century. Stone houses stand close, their slate roofs heavy with history. Their walls darkened by rain and seasons. Streams weave between them, carrying the valley's voice, while forests climb the slopes in untamed green. There is no spectacle here, no grand gesture, only the intimate presence of silence. The kind of silence that makes you aware of your own breath. Far away, perched in the Val Bregaglia, lies Soglio. Giovanni Segantini once called it the gateway to paradise, and perhaps he was right. The village rests upon a sunlit terrace, looking out over granite peaks that catch the last gold of evening. Narrow alleys curl between houses, shadows softening as bells toll faintly from its church. In Soglio, the world seems both immense and delicate mountains tower like guardians. Yet within the village, life continues with a gentleness that feels eternal. In Valais, hidden by forests and solitude, waits Blatten. For centuries, isolation preserved its soul. Its wooden chalets darkened by age until they gleam almost black in the alpine sun. Walking its paths, you feel the weight of generations farmers, shepherds, families who endured winters that tested even the strongest walls. Blatten is not polished for the traveler. It resists time's intrusions, a fragment of the Alps that still breathes as it once did. Higher still, Chandelin stretches toward the sky at nearly 2,000 meters. It is among the highest inhabited villages in Europe. Winters here are long, but the air is sharp, clean, filled with a brightness that seems to belong more to the heavens than the earth. Life continues year-round, stubborn and serene, proof that even in the harshest climates, human presence can root itself like larch trees clinging to cliffs. Chandelin is not remote by accident. It is remote by essence. A village where solitude is not absence, but abundance. And then, in Ticino once again, lies Ferraglio, a village blessed with a waterfall that spills like a silver veil beside its clustered stone houses. The roofs, shingled with flat slabs of granite, gleam wet beneath spray. Stand here and you hear two voices intertwining the murmur of human life and the ceaseless hymn of falling water. Ferraglio feels like a secret that nature allows. A place where fragility and endurance meet in one small valley. Each of these villages is less a location than a presence. They do not compete with mountains or glaciers. They exist alongside them, in quiet dialogue. They remind us that the Alps are not only a stage for grandeur, but also a cradle for intimacy. The mountains hold their silence, the lakes, their mirrors, and the villages, their quiet sanctuaries. Yet woven among them are signs of another presence, human hands daring to carve lines through stone. To tether valleys with bridges, to anchor history in walls of castles. These are not intrusions. They are conversations between humanity and the immensity of the Alps. Take the Charles Quonen suspension bridge. It does not dominate the landscape. It trembles within it. Spanning almost half a kilometer, the bridge hangs like a thread of steel stretched across an abyss. To step onto it is to surrender balance, to feel both the sway of the earth beneath you and the immovable calm of peaks above. Each footstep vibrates. Each breath echoes in the chest. Here, human daring becomes fragile against the measure of mountains. Yet, the fragility itself feels like triumph. Far from steel, the Landwasser Viaduct carries its grace in stone. A railway bridge, yes. But more than that, an arching gesture across a gorge where trains glide as if suspended in air. Its 6 soaring arches seem less engineered than conjured, curving like a question against the sheer cliff. To watch a red train cross is to glimpse harmony, machine, stone, and sky aligned in one fleeting motion. It is not utility, but poetry and infrastructure. Castles, too, punctuate the landscape. Reminders that even in a land of giants, humans sought permanence. Chillon Castle, poised upon the waters of Lake Geneva, reflects itself like a dream doubled. Its towers rise directly from the lake's surface, walls washed by centuries of waves. Inside, shadows cling to halls where prisoners once scratched names into stone. Outside, the Alps shimmer across the horizon. Chillon is not only fortress, but mirror, an intersection where water, mountain, and memory converge. Closer to the heart of the Bernese Alps, the harder Kulm waits. Not a castle of stone, but a terrace of perspective. From here, Interlaken lies revealed between its twin lakes. Above, the Trinity of Eiger, Munch, and Jungfrau Loom. It is less a viewpoint than an unveiling, the kind of place where scale collapses, where human eyes stretch to contain immensity and fail, leaving only law. Not all human traces are as permanent. The Via Ferrata's roots of iron fixed to cliffs invite climbers to touch the stone with both daring and humility. The cables, ladders, and pins gleam against rock. Fragile silver scars that allow passage where none should be possible. To climb one is to hang between worlds, the human below, the eternal above, the void waiting in silence. It is a dialogue written in sweat and steel, a reminder that to meet the Alps is not always to conquer, but sometimes simply to cling. Each bridge, each viaduct, each fortress and ladder reveals a truth humanity has never been absent here. But neither has it ever ruled. In the Alps, our works are small, delicate, almost temporary against the weight of stone and ice. Yet in their fragility lies their beauty. They are not monuments to domination, but to coexistence. Moments where the human story brushes against eternity, and for a brief instant leaves a mark. In the Alps, time does not move forward, it pools. It lingers in valleys, it settles on rooftops. It folds into traditions carried not by museums, but by daily life. If glaciers are the memory of ice, then villages are the memory of people. They are the human echoes that remain audible in a landscape otherwise dominated by silence. In many of these traditional villages, especially those nestled deep in high valleys where flat land is scarce houses, stand pressed, shoulder to shoulder. It was never mere design. It was necessity. By building close, communities preserved precious ground for fields, shielded one another from wind and snow, and shared warmth through thick adjoining walls. Narrow lanes twist between wooden chalets, their timbers blackened by centuries of sun and storm. What looks like closeness is survival. What feels like intimacy is resilience. These clusters of stone and timber are more than architecture. They are fortresses of memory, shaped as much by weather and hardship as by human hands. To walk them is to walk through a living archive, where every roof tile and cobbled path speaks of endurance. Step into Sonogno, at the far reach of Ticino's Verzasca Valley, and you feel not a rival, but a gentle return. Stone houses with walls half a meter thick and slate roofs speak of centuries of endurance. Their dark wooden shutters faded by countless winters. The air carries the scent of chestnut forests, damp earth, and wood smoke curling from chimneys as it has for generations. Tiny gardens edge the pathways, and traditional festivals mark the turn of seasons with music and dance. Sonogno is less a village than a heartbeat steady, quiet, essential, where every stone lane and wooden beam holds the memory of those who chose resilience over haste. Higher still, Chandolin rests among the clouds, one of Europe's highest year-round settlements at nearly 2,000 meters. Altitude shapes everything, the air sharper, the silence deeper, the stars startlingly close. Houses of dark pine and stone cluster for warmth, their roofs heavy with slate to resist mountain winds. Paths wind past meadows that blaze with wildflowers in summer and lie under deep snow in winter. The rhythm of daily life bends to the elements: woodcutting, cheesemaking, and careful preparation for the long, cold months. Chandolin feels both exposed and protected, a reminder that endurance itself can be a form of grace. It is not crowded because it does not need to be. Its wealth is measured in horizons, in the unbroken view of peaks glowing pink at dawn, and the Milky Way spilling across an ink-black sky. And in Ferrolio, a waterfall crashes like an eternal hymn beside houses of slate and stone. The village is a sketch of resilience, designed to withstand winters that once cut it off completely from the outside world. Narrow bridges cross rushing streams, and footpaths weave between gardens of alpine herbs and fruit trees that cling to the brief summer warmth. The waterfall is more than scenery. It is voice. Its roar fills the valley. Constant and insistent. A reminder that nature speaks in tones human language can only approximate. Villagers once timed their work to its rhythm, the sound marking seasons as reliably as a clock. Ferrolio teaches that to live here is not to escape the elements, but to align with them, to to shape life in harmony with the relentless music of mountain water. Hidden deep within a narrow alpine valley, Valls is defined by its gray quartzite stone, found in the surrounding mountains and used to build the village's tightly clustered houses. Roofs are layered with heavy slate, creating a low, compact silhouette that resists fierce winter winds. Set beneath the icy Dent Blanche, Yvelines is a guardian of Valais heritage and alpine craftsmanship. The village is renowned for its dark, sun-burnished wooden chalets built from larch beams, stacked horizontally and bound with stone foundations to withstand heavy snow. Roofs are weighted with flat stone slabs to resist mountain winds, and flower boxes overflow with geraniums in summer. Communal ovens, once central to bread baking, continue to be used for special events, linking today's villagers to centuries of shared labor. Seasonal cow parades and the Carnaval de Vilaine, complete with wooden masks and folk music, reaffirm a deep connection to the land and its cycles. Yvelines is not merely picturesque. It is a living testament to alpine resilience, where architecture and tradition merge seamlessly with the surrounding peaks. Switzerland is not a place you conquer. It is a place you listen to. The Alps rise like silent guardians. Glaciers breathe with the patience of centuries, and villages hum with traditions carried quietly through time. Here, permanence and fragility coexist: mountains igniting at dawn, rivers of ice dissolving into water, wooden chalets weathering snow and sun. Everywhere, there is harmony, not the harmony of perfection, but of balanced stone with water, solitude with community, human hands with the immensity of nature. A bridge trembling across an abyss. A castle mirrored in a lake. A cross lifted against a red square sky. These are not symbols of domination, but of coexistence. Switzerland asks nothing more than this to be heard, to walk in its silence, to feel the weight of peaks pressing against the horizon, to breathe the stillness carved by glaciers, and to carry away not images, but echoes. You do not leave Switzerland behind. It lingers like music long after the last note, like light still glowing in memory. This land of fire and ice, of stone and silence, remains not as a postcard, but as a presence. Switzerland is not visited. Switzerland is remembered.